Yes, us. Welcome to the Kefi Life Podcast. My name is Kiki Vale, and I'll be your guide to creating a life of Ola Kala, all is well. Together, we'll get back to the basics, and we'll explore fresh new ways to flourish in mind, body, and soul the Greek way. You can look forward to interviews, stories, essential self-care strategies, recipes, and actionable takeaway Ola Kala moments. This is going to be so much fun. Let's get going. Πάμε! Our Lexi for today is Piscina, or pool. You know, friends, fresh water, let's face it, is always the best choice for swimming and relaxing the sore muscles. But not all of us are near a lake, an ocean, or a sea at all times. In this case, a swimming pool, or piscina, is an excellent alternative. Pools are wonderful for working out, conditioning during an injury, or simply having a relaxing, slow movement in water to de-stress the mind, body, and soul after a very strenuous day. Piscina. You can seek one out at your local fitness center or YMCA. Eleolado, olive oil, has been celebrated in the civilized world for millennia. Nearly eternal, the oil of this fruit has been more than just food to the cultures of the Mediterranean region. It's been medicinal, ceremonial, sacramental, and the foundation of great wealth and power. It is safe to say that olive oil is the ethos, the essence of Greek culinary culture. Today, the priceless and life-giving ingredients of this liquid gold can be delivered to you when you purchase your premium bottle of Kefi Life extra virgin olive oil from the region my parents were born, the Peloponnese. The coveted Koroneiki olive is extensively cultivated here in the southern part of Greece, which offers the unique microclimate needed to grow a fruit netting the utmost nutrient value for extra virgin olive oil. Kefi Life extra virgin olive oil, a boundless amount of value, high in antioxidants with anti-inflammatory properties, linked to good mood and improved mental health. Get your bottle of wellness today when you visit kefilife.shop. Improve your life, improve your fitness. There's always a way. Keep moving, modify, adjust working different body parts. Listen to your body, love your body. All these adages ring true for me, and I'm certain that the words will be applied to your life, especially after today's conversation with Jennifer Conroyd, the founder and CEO of Fluid Running. Nearly a decade ago, I developed a back injury due to hard training during various events, like I was getting ready for a marathon and a triathlon. And my coach at the time, Lisa Menninger, told me to keep moving, even if it hurts, but to get in the water, which would relieve the pain. I said, how am I going to do that? She said, Kiki, I recommend to you fluid running. Well, I did it. It helped. It kept me moving. And I'm so excited to introduce you to the founder of Fluid Runner. Her name is Jennifer. And welcome.
Hi, Kiki. Thanks for having me here today.
It's such a joy to see you after so many years. Your business has really grown quite a bit.
It has. It's a lot of pivots, a lot of change, and really exciting growth. It's been 11 years since I started Fluid Running, so we've come a long way, in a good way.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. So why don't we get right to the nitty-gritty and share your experience that led to the creation of Fluid Running?
So my backstory, as they say, is it was in 2010, and I was training for the Chicago Marathon. And what made this marathon so special to me is I was doing it with all of my siblings. They were coming in from California to Maine. All 5 of us were coming in. We were doing it for Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation in honor of my nephew, Ben, who had been diagnosed at a very young age. And we had raised $10,000, and I was team captain. Everyone was coming in. 6 weeks before, I tore my calf muscle. And it was like I was hopping. I couldn't even put weight on it. My doctor said, you can't run. And I said, no, you don't understand. I have to run this marathon. I'll walk on my hands if I have to. So I Googled, how do you stay in running shape when you can't run? Came across all sorts of things, but I kept landing on this thing called Aqua Jogging, or deep water running. Found an article written by a running coach. I reached out to him and I said, is there any way you can help me? I've got to run a marathon in 6 weeks. And he said, Jennifer, don't worry, I'll get you there. And all I did was run in the deep water for the final 6 weeks leading up to the Chicago Marathon. And I always say, even my 20 miler, I did in the deep water. And what does that mean? That means running for 3 hours, keeping my heart rate in the same zone as if I was running on land. And not only did I finish the marathon, but I qualified for the Boston Marathon. So,
wow!
Yeah, it was my big aha moment, because I was like, okay, not only did I stay in running shape, not only did I stay in marathon running shape, but I was going to say in Boston Marathon qualifying running shape by running in the water. And when I crossed the finish line, I was like, why why isn't everybody doing this? And I had, most people had never heard of it. And I contacted my coach. I said, how do I become certified? And he said, you know what? It really hasn't taken off in the U.S. It's big in Australia. It's big in Canada. And so off to Canada, I went to get a couple certifications. I came back and then went to my local park district, the Oak Brook Park District. And I went to the aquatic manager and I said, could I start a deep water running class here? And he said, sure. So for the first year, it was just called deep water running. And then I eventually said, wait a minute, I'm gonna brand this, and then named it fluid running.
I remember coming to Oak Brook and taking your class. And while we can't show the pool right now, I'd love for the followers and listeners to get a real glimpse of what this actually is. How is it different from the aqua jogging?
Yes.
Or describe what.
Yeah. So it's very different, and it's probably the biggest hurdle of my company, because so many people have this vision, either of it being for very elderly people, right? A slow moving for very elderly people. Or if they've even runners, sometimes when they have a vision of aqua jogging, they picture this pulling their knees up to their chest and with these blue barbells in their arms. I'm like, no. So what fluid running is, what differs so much from what people think it is we are actually running. So when I created this, I wanted, because I was taught how to run in proper form. So that's upright, vertical, shoulders are back, legs are right underneath you. So just, imagine what you look like when you're running. You're tall and you're long, and there's a knee bend, but not pulling your knees up to your chest kind of thing. So we're mimicking the running form, but also working to a level which your heart rate can get super high. I mean, the beautiful thing about fluid running is, as we're teaching these classes, is if we're saying, give me 100% effort and you only have 60, you can always go at your own pace. But it is intended to be more of like a interval class. We run in sets, we do sprints, we do, hard 30 seconds, take a break, and then we mix in some other movements. But it takes place in the deep water. You have a flotation belt around your waist. It's running based. And then, like I said, we mix in some other moves, like a cross country, picture like a Nordic ski kind of a movement. Sometimes we'll break down the run stride and just run with your arms and just your legs. And we keep it interesting by mixing up other movements, different lengths of sets. It's all, with music in the background. And that's what makes it different. And it's harder, but in a good way, than what most people think of when they think of an aqua aerobics class.
You mentioned heart rate. So is a heart rate monitor involved?
So when we teach our live classes and even our app-based workouts, we always will give people the opportunity. We'll do heart rate checks. We'll say, okay, start counting now. And we'll do a quick 6-second check at a 0. And then, so if you say you got 12 beats, then it's, would be 120. I personally love the heart rate monitor because I love to any time be able to check and look and see what my heart rate is. I should just add this because it's an interesting physiological response to when you're vertical in the deep water. When you're vertical in the deep water, I always say, think of yourself kind of like a tube of toothpaste. All that water pressure is actually pushing everything up in your body, including your blood. So extra blood is being pumped in and out of your heart, and your heart physically can't pump it out fast enough as if it was on land. So I always say, here's my little analogy. If you're running on land or working out on land, whatever you're doing, your heart's going boom, 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 boom. In the water, same intensity, your heart's going boom, boom, because it can't pump it out fast enough. But it doesn't mean you're not working as hard. So you actually have to add. So if you have a heart rate monitor on, you actually have to add to what you're seeing on your watch. So if you're seeing a 120, it's actually more like a 130, 135. You have to do this adjustment. And most people don't know that. And that's a hindrance, I think, sometimes. Someone will come in and go, oh my God, my heart rate wasn't very high in the water. I'm like, well, you didn't know to add that 10 to 15 beats. So it's interesting.
Very interesting, and I'm thinking that the population that would enjoy this is, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, like weight loss, people that want to lose weight, people that have been injured. Like, do you have a general population? I don't want to stereotype, but who is your typical fluid running person?
So our typical fluid running person is, it's predominantly women, although we do get those men. I love it. They're brave enough to come and show up at the classes because they realize what a great workout it is. But it is middle-aged women, and honestly, they're women who want to be active. They were usually very fit. We have a lot of like ex-athletes that ran or tennis players or whatever the case, but they're women that want to be active, but dang it, something hurts now. Every time they hop on that elliptical, or every time they try to run, or every time they try to do something, their knee flares up, or their hip flares up, or their back, and they're so darn tired of this pain. So they're very engaged. They don't want your typical older person aqua aerobic workout. They want to work out, and they love this because they come in and they're runners. We always say everyone's a runner in fluid running, and I kind of joke that everyone wants to be a runner, but most people hate it because it's so painful. But we say in fluid running, everyone's a runner, everyone's an athlete. So yeah, it's middle-aged women that want to be active, but something is, they get to the point in their life where something always kind of flares up every time they try to do something land-based.
It's funny that you say that because I ran into somebody the other day. I do Orange Theory, but I want to really start incorporating this fluid running because I enjoy the water and how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
But my friend is 41, and she's discontinuing her membership because she's just got a lot of aches and pains and those flare-ups, as you say.
Yeah.
And I think that if we address injury or we address what's going on in our body, the water is more gentle.
It's so forgiving. I mean, fluid running takes place in the deep water. So you have a flotation belt around your waist. You're essentially floating while you're doing workout. So whether it's hip, foot, knee, anything that hurts in back, it's wonderful for spine. I had done it prior to having spine surgery. And I'm going to interject here real quick if I can, Kiki.
Please.
And tell me one of my favorite memories, giving a little props to the host here. I'll just never forget. I came to teach a fluid running class. I was in excruciating pain from my neck. I ended up having surgery a couple weeks later. I was supposed to teach. I don't know if you remember this. I came to class. I was sobbing because I was in so much pain, setting up the other instructor so she could teach. Drove myself to Hinsdale Hospital, and who showed up but Kiki? You showed up, and I didn't really know you that well, and I'll never forget you for that. It was so kind and compassionate, and I'll just never forget
I now remember it.
Like, do you remember?
Yes.
You came to the hospital.
Oh my God. Because you know what? I didn't recall it until you brought it back to my attention.
Yeah.
But I remember that day
Oh my gosh.
not scared you were, but like you were really in pain.
I was in pain because I'm a toughie. I
remember
easily.
that day at Hinsdale Hospital.
You came to the hospital and
Oh my
visited
God.
me. I'll never forget you for that. So.
Oh, well, good. All right.
you.
So that's good. Of course, I think that's really important. If we another thing is when we show compassion to other people.
Yes.
And it's very helpful, and to also encourage and inspire those.
Yes.
And that's really what this podcast is about, is uplifting people's energy and mood and educating them to self-advocate for their well-being in the mind, the body, and the spirit.
Yeah.
So I guess because it's been a while since I've been in the water, because I'm kind of like, I switch my workouts up.
Yeah,
and I
that's
think
good.
I'm ready to get back in the water.
Yeah.
I do a whole host of things, but if we want to be successful at fluid running, let's say, like for me, I want to drop about 6 pounds. How often would I have to do it?
I would say 2 times a week would make a big difference.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you can burn up to 500 calories in a fluid running class. I mean, 2 to 3, but I don't think you would have to do it more than. I mean, we have people that do it 5 and 6 days a week because it is so forgiving on the body. Really? But I would never say do it 5 or 6 days a week. But it's great to mix up your workout regimen. But 2 to 3 days a week, I think, would make a really big difference in weight loss. Not only, and this is another interesting fact, it burns 40% more calories than running on land.
Did not know that.
Yeah, that's why I say, I think a couple times a week could actually make a really big difference.
Okay.
So imagine going for an hour-long run. Now you're doing an hour-long fluid running class, but you're burning 40% more. And that's because of the water resistance. It's 800 times denser than air. And then all the other muscle groups that fire when you're fluid running versus land running. When you're running on land, it's just your legs. When you're in the water, your arms are pushing through that water. All your upper body stabilizer muscles are like engaged to hold you in that upright position. Your core has to be locked to hold you straight up. So it's all the extra muscles and all that extra resistance that counts for the extra calorie burn.
Are you in the water? Are you still teaching? And are you in the water every day doing fluid running?
I don't do it. I mix it up. It's always part of my weekly regimen.
Sure,
but I'm a swimmer. I'm a runner. I do fluid running. I swim. I run. But yeah, several times a week. I don't teach. I don't have a time slot per se, but I sub when an instructor needs a backup.
And I looked at your website, fluidrunning.com.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you don't have to be like an excellent swimmer, but you should know how to swim, like basics.
Yeah, it's always a tricky thing. You don't have to know, like when you say you don't have to know how to swim, what we mean by that is when you see somebody in a lap lane, and they're swimming for half an hour freestyle.
Okay.
People often say, oh, I heard about your swimming class. It has nothing, the only similarity is that it's done in the water. We're swimming as you're horizontal in the water. We're vertical. You're wearing a flotation belt. It's not a swimming motion. We just don't want somebody, because we have an app-based system that people can do solo on their own. We would never want someone to go into the deep water that is incapable of swimming, that if the belt came off or something and they were incapable of getting to the side of the wall. So you really just need to be capable of swimming
so you don't
20
drown.
feet or something like that, so you would not drown. So
right, okay, well taken. That is a well taken point. So I'm sure that there are people. We're in Illinois, so there are places all over Illinois to do fluid running. What if somebody's in New York or Florida or Utah?
Yeah, well, I'm excited to answer that question because in the early days, I started fluid running in 2011, and we were one of the very few, we still are, companies, if you will, that offer deep water running. And people would Google us and find us. And I'd get people saying, I wish you had it here in California, or I'm in New York. And I got so frustrated saying, oh, darn it, we're only here. Hopefully one day we'll be in. So at any rate, in I guess about 3 years ago with my business partner, Mike Lambert, we launched an app-based version of fluid running. So it's all the fluid running workouts that are now you can do anywhere. So the fluid running system, if you were to order it, you would automatically get a link that would teach you how to do it. It's me actually teaching what that proper fluid running form, how to run in that upright position, and then it goes through the other movements, the cross country and so forth. Then your equipment package comes in the mail, and that's your Bluetooth waterproof headphones, your flotation belt, and then a tether if you want to kind of affix yourself to a lane line or a ladder. And then you download the fluid running app. Your workouts are then on the app. So you open up your app and you pick Take the Long Way Home, for example, is one of our workouts. You stick your phone in the gym bag, you start your headphones, and there's a coach in your ear that says, hello, fluid runners. My name is Jennifer. I do some of them. We now have several, and I'm really excited about this 55-minute workout we're about to start. And then you just listen to all of the sets. We're going to do 45-second sprints, and we're going to take it to this, and we're going to go. And so then the coach leads you through the entire workout with music in the background and so forth. So anyone can do it anywhere in the U.S. Also, we're trademarked and we sell throughout the EU.
I was going to say, what about Greece, the ocean?
Yeah, right.
And the
right.
Thalassa.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Haven't got there yet. We're in Australia, doing really well in Australia right now because it's their summer, which is great. And they're a very active country, and they're more familiar with deep water running there. So
we got to get you over to Greece because people love the natives love to be in the Thalassa.
And we've got people do it in lakes, and we just had someone post in our private group that they were about to hop in the ocean in Australia actually to do it.
How cool is that? You must be so proud. And by the way, is Mike Lambert, Dr. Mike Lambert?
No, not doctor.
Okay, so we're friends with Dr. Mike Lambert. He's a cardiologist, or ER doctor, excuse me. That is so cool. Well, this is how you've grown so much. Like when I was in the water with you taking the class, I don't think you had been featured yet as one of the 20 best workouts in America with Men's Journal. Yeah. And you've been featured on since then, WMAQ and NBC. You were in Health Magazine. I mean, God, this is really something that is good for everybody.
It is. And I love the press, but I love the press because other people find out about it. And really our mission at Fluid Running is we say to be able to provide this pain-free way to work out to as many people as possible. Because there's so many different ailments, injuries that you sometimes can't do other things. If you have a screaming back pain, you can't sit on a bike, you can't get an elliptical, you can hardly walk. But as I said, when you're in the deep water, you're like floating. So even the discs of your spine are kind of separated from each other. They're kind of floating. So it's amazing all the different ailments of people that we've had that come. People will come with their boot, take their boot off, because of some lower limb and then get in the water. I always say, check with your doctor first if you have an injury. But it's for anybody. And, people shouldn't have to wait until they're injured or in pain to do it. That's the other thing. If you start to incorporate it now and you do less of that pounding kind of workout, you can avoid the injury. And my other line is exercise doesn't have to hurt. It shouldn't hurt in the sense like, ouch. Yes, it's good to be like you're gritting your teeth. And I see people gritting their teeth in a fluid running workout because they're pushing and pulling, but it's against the resistance of water. That's just so forgiving. So I always use the word fatigue in my workout versus pain. There's no pain in fluid running. If you're working hard, you're going to be fatigued, but that's a good thing. That just strengthens your body.
Especially if you get to hear that music too, because it's so uplifting. There's so many like whole person benefits to fluid running. I particularly like the fact for me, because I'm a fan of the water, that it just emotionally calms me down and settles the brain. And just the fluid running is just a win-win. So your business has grown. You've got partners. What's next for fluid running?
We're just we're just kind of starting to scratch the surface outside of the U.S. So it's just expansion. Like I said, we're kind of taking off in Australia right now. So right now, more workouts. We're actually testing. We've just actually successfully tested virtual group classes where we don't have instructors, where they're actually able to play the fluid running workouts via a broadcast via a speaker. We tested it last year and it was really successful. We're trying to work with college teams, high school teams, where these kids get injured so much because they're doing such heavy mileage. We're trying to convince them if you can put your runners in the water 2 times a week instead of pounding land, not only then going to get less injured, they might actually run faster. We've had crazy stories of people that have taken fluid running on good runners, elite runners that end up doing, getting their PRs. And they'll say it's because of the fluid running, because I work, it makes me so much stronger, running against all that resistance, and then helps to keep them injury free.
So it's, in Greek we call it hydrotherapy.
Hydrotherapy, it is. It is, and you said it makes you feel good. That's science too, Kiki. I mean, there's science attached to what water does to your brain just by being in it. I read this whole article. We were born in water, right? And but it has a calming effect. So it's such a beautiful thing. You can be doing this good, hard, quote unquote, hard workout, yet you're being calmed at the same time.
Fantastic. It's a win-win, and that is for sure. In our Remind You moments, I just wanted to ask you now, you're quite fit, and you look great, and you have a business.
Thank you.
Yes, and you have a woman-owned business. And how do you mentally stay fit? Like, what do you do to keep that brain in a good space?
Mentally, I'm a big meditator. So, meditation, I'm very big on just intention. The old kind of like, if you believe it, then it's so. So just, a lot of good mental work. But I would say probably my meditation that starts every single one of my days is what keeps me mentally fit.
And as far as your body, I know that you do exercise, you move your body, which is critical.
Yeah.
They say they say that the enemy as a person ages is immobility.
Oh, for sure.
So we know you're staying mobile. What about your diet? How does it look?
Healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I read a lot, and the more you read, the more you realize just the importance of eating clean. Now, I'm kind of like an 80-20 rule, though. Same. I will tell you, I am really good. I don't have processed junky food in my diet. So I tend to be really good during the weekdays, but on the weekends, I want to be able to enjoy pizza. I want to be able to have a glass of wine. So I'm very good during the week, very good. And I still always kind of watch. I don't eat fast food and I don't eat packaged junky food, but I will allow myself indulgence on the weekends. And it works.
What about your soul? How do you take care of that?
My soul. Well, when I say, I'm going to say my prayer. So it's my soul is fed by prayer. So, my meditation every day always starts with meditation and ends with prayer. So.
Well, this has been a fantastic interview. We've learned so much. We want people to know how they can get in touch, whether they are overseas or they're in another state or they're right here in Illinois. What's the best way to get to Fluid Running or find those apps?
Yeah, so Fluid Running, www.fluidrunning.com is our website. And then you can find us on Instagram at Fluid Running, Facebook at Fluid Running, and Twitter at Fluid Running.
Well, you, Jennifer Conroyd, have been a very special guest, and I ask all my special guests this question.
Yeah.
So I'll ask it, you answer it. Jennifer, in my life, I've learned that.
Without having much time to think about this question, Kiki, and just being here with you today, I'm going to say that I have learned that really special people in your life show up again.
Oh my God!
Here we are.
Oh my God! Thank you. That's so sweet. That's awesome, Jennifer. Thank you. And you never know when you're going to bump into somebody again.
Oh, this was such a treat. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's been really my pleasure, and I hope that people will really consider Fluid Running.
Yeah, terrific.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.
Stay right there. Up next, your weekly takeaway to keep it all as well. Hola Kala.
This Hola Kala moment brought to you by the law offices of Liston and Centillus. Ranked number 1 by the leading lawyers network since 2010, taking care of all your real estate needs.
People that are hola kala all as well generally seek to be this way with variety. Variety with their meals, variety with their workouts, variety with their wardrobe, pretty much variety with everything. You see, mixing up the program, if you will, allows you to keep it interesting and keep you in the game. The days are long, but the years are short, so fill them with keffi and spice and all things nice, and you'll be hola kala all as well.
Kiki Vale is the founder of Keffi Life. She is passionate about whole person wellness and living a fulfilled life. Her Keffi Life podcast is created to simply and naturally help you harmonize the mind, body, and soul the Greek way. Visit KeffiLife.com, at KeffiLife365 on Instagram, and check out Kiki Vale on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Join us again next time for more positive energy and inspiration on Keffi Life.